British Columbia is world-renowned for its scenic rivers and the abundant runs of Pacific salmon they support. However, in recent years, these iconic resources have been facing an increasing number of challenges, severely impacting numerous populations of salmon and the communities and ecosystems that rely on them. To address some of these challenges, the provincial government established the Living Rivers Trust Fund to work towards a foundation of healthy watersheds, sustainable ecosystems, and thriving communities. The trust is allocated towards a variety of undertakings in the Fraser Basin, Vancouver Island, and the mainland Sunshine Coast. The spirit of the Georgia Basin Vancouver Island program is one of building partnerships, many with First Nations.
In the future in BC, First Nations will have more responsibility for managing the fisheries resource with treaty, with the new relationships with First Nations. All those things are leading to a larger role and greater responsibility. The way I see things, there are two ways that could happen. One is First Nations retain consultants from outside the community for the technical piece, where the money's leaving the community. Or secondly, we work together to develop the technical capacity within the community. And if you look at those models, it's a no-brainer with respect to which one is the best model. And that's what Living Rivers Legacy is all about. When we started talking about a legacy, as a biologist, I had visions of off-channel habitat and artificial log jams and physical habitat projects. But I think I was gently corrected in that the vision that they were talking about was one of a human legacy, of a living legacy, of having people from their own communities work to acquire the skills and the expertise that would allow them to do this work, not for a few years, but for their whole lifetimes. So this rapidly became more of a capacity building project, more a strategy about people than about projects.
Well, it's been a big advantage for Nuu-chah-nulth, in particular for a Nuu-chah-nulth woman, Sabrina Halvorsen, that was doing fisheries training at Vancouver Island University and was looking for a career move. We didn't have funding available at the time to help support that, and Living Rivers Trust came along, Tom Rutherford came along with being able to fill that gap to provide the initial sort of startup funding to get Sabrina involved here, for us to bring Sabrina into our fisheries program here as an associate biologist.
Well, it's all about building the partnerships too, and getting involved in the communities and giving the people like me an opportunity to work within the communities and learn more about it. Like, I have a better understanding of the fisheries management and how it works and how we communicate with other people, and like projects like these, it gives you a better understanding of what needs to be done to manage our resources.
The combination of bringing the non-native community into the equation and the native community is extremely important in this case, because my own feeling is that the future for the salmon resource in British Columbia lies in the hands of the strength that develops out of those partnerships involving both First Nations and non-native institutions.
Perhaps most of the successes we've had are a result of the approach, and it's a different approach. It's not an approach of telling, it's an approach of asking.
The Living Rivers First Nations Legacy Strategy has resulted in the creation of training and employment opportunities for First Nations individuals, as well as the completion of a variety of technical watershed stewardship projects involving First Nation partnerships.
I think we have a pretty decent relationship, and I hope we can build on that relationship with Living Rivers in the future. It was, I felt really comfortable dealing with Living Rivers. You know, I felt that it was actually a co-management project. I didn't feel like I was being left out. I felt that Tsawout First Nation, Tsawout Fisheries, we were actually a big part of what was going on.
When Living Rivers came, it was really good timing. They came with the offer to help provide resources, help build capacity, and help to generate some interest in the Theodosia River. So they become a partner to Sliammon. They've provided us with some funding, they've provided us with training opportunities, and they've brought attention to this river again. So that's been the really exciting part. Through Living Rivers, we were able to bring on a summer student.
Living Rivers has really given me the opportunity to do what I've always wanted to do, work outside, working with fish, getting to know the territory more, and it's really helped me learn, more about our traditional lands, our territory, our resources, how important fish is to our community and to our culture. I definitely think it should be expanded, and it should be grown as well to have more capacity building initiatives and training opportunities as well for First Nations. It's good to have sort of a person coming into the community and bringing me out here to sort of learn these things on the ground versus, in the classroom setting. And I think that's the best way for our people to learn, is actually getting out there and being really hands-on in a lot of the technical skills that are needed for this job.
We have to be much more proactive, and in a sense, our community members are wanting us to take a lead role in what's happening in our territory. One of the things that Living Rivers has really helped in its initial development and helped to see through is the Cowichan Watershed Board. And the Watershed Board, I think, has the potential to really have a tremendous impact on how we deal with water and our water issues, and to take a much more proactive role. And we're full partners. We, as First Nations, co-chair the organization and help ensure direction.
To bring in members to show that these are, good jobs, long-term jobs, viable jobs of taking care of the resources in their territory in a modern context, a context that includes, the Western science and management with multiple agencies and interests. It's key that you get young Aboriginal people involved in these kind of activities and working relationships.
And once given the opportunity, you'd be surprised how many people would want to take that role and get involved in that. And if I wasn't provided with this opportunity, then I don't know which other direction I would have went.
If this is looked at as a template for bringing the communities together, then I think it has utility across the province.
I also interact with other First Nations organizations throughout the province, and the need is the same elsewhere. And I don't see why this model can't be adapted to another location.
When we started this in 2008, we were hoping to forge some strong and effective partnerships with a handful of First Nations and priority watersheds. 2 years later, we've engaged with over a dozen First Nations, and we've provided employment and training opportunities for 17 First Nations members. I've had the privilege of working with 17 people who are going to be leaders in this field long after I'm gone. And I think that's a true legacy.
Living Rivers has invested about $200,000 developing the young First Nation professionals. Other partners have contributed an additional $600,000. These partnerships demonstrate how Living Rivers has been a catalyst towards change, of working together to support a common vision around healthy and sustainable salmon populations, healthy watersheds, and thriving communities.